Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Magnus. Today we're going to talk about SD-WAN. And Check Point has taken a different approach than many other vendors and actually gone for a partnership with the market leader of this specific segment. And the main purpose of SD-WAN is cost saving. To be able to build your own provider network between your offices, your public cloud, and even your private cloud. So you don't depend on the service provider itself. In this case, I'm a bit biased because I actually work for a service provider, but I will try to take a fair approach on this. Check Point has actually gotten a lot of crap for this partnership or this decision to take a partnership instead of doing like an own SD-WAN product. So this statement is coming from the Gartner report, so I have highlighted it here, but the product strategy, Check Point's strategy to integrate its security virtual machine with the leading SD-WAN providers rather than add native SD-WAN capabilities create a disadvantage against the leading competitors when competing for the branch perimeter appliance use case. And I don't agree with this statement. And I know there has been a lot of controversies, especially within the Checkmate communities. Some people want Check Point to just release appliance boxes that has all the SD-WAN features and functions. But I actually think that Check Point has done the correct way here and actually focus on what they're good on. They're focusing on the security part, meaning they are able to integrate with more and more vendors and don't compete with these vendors on their specific territory. That's why you can build great products when it comes to managed service providers, where I work. So you can actually combine the best of the best. And for a small company, I understand that this can be quite tiresome. But, well, if we check on what SD-WAN actually means, maybe it's not the same as what you're actually looking for. So, according to Wikipedia, the main purpose of SD-WAN, or what defines an SD-WAN solution, is to be able to support multiple type of connections, MPLS, fiber, 4G, 5G, wireless, etc. And then it's the ability to dynamic path select and for load sharing and resilience, meaning redundancy. A simple interface that is easily to configure and manage the solution. The ability to support VPNs and third-party services such as WAN optimizer, firewalls, and web gateways. So the main characteristic of the SD-WAN, it doesn't say cost saving. But when most people talk about an SD-WAN solution, most people want to have a centralized solution with a nice web UI that they can use everywhere in the world and it more or less automatically builds something. So what SD-WAN is about is to more or less to skip the man in the middle, the service provider. Meaning the service provider will not build the service for you. You will build it yourself. You just buy internet and then you build your fancy network by yourself. Most companies can actually not do this. Most companies doesn't have the knowledge needed to build your own WAN network. They actually need a partner. So in this case, they need a service provider, maybe not the local service provider in that specific country. You can go to a larger organization and you can buy a service provider seen from an SD-WAN purpose. But most companies, and you need to go to quite large companies to actually have a dedicated IT department with network staff. So that's the main thing. Network people, security people. Many organizations has like Windows technicians or Linux technicians or developers that knows some stuff. But when it comes to connecting multiple offices with public cloud, with private cloud, to have this in a secure, efficient way, most companies doesn't have the knowledge to actually do this and they need to go to a partner anyway. So they need to go to some sort of partner that act as their service provider. So when we talk to like global companies, you can do huge cost savings in being able to buy local internet where you are. I mean, in Sweden, it doesn't really matter. An MPLS and an internet from a corporate side, it's more or less the same cost. But if you're talking about like building a worldwide network and you want to buy it from one provider, it's quite hard. But you also need to consider if you are a worldwide company and you're planning to implement SD-WAN, you will still have your 50 service providers that provide your internet. You still need some knowledge on how to actually build this. So maybe you have your 50 local internet suppliers and you have your one SD-WAN vendor. So it's not like you can buy it and get everything from the same person, because then you have this service provider. It's a way to deliver this service. Instead of doing MPLS, you do it with VPN tunnels. But take like an example of, let's say, a retailer with 200 stores within one nation like Sweden. There is not so much of cost difference between buying 200 internet connections locally or to go to one service provider and say, can you please hook up all of my stores? The price difference between buying local internet and buying MPLS is not so huge. It's very little actually. Because you also need to consider, like, how does the invoicing work? How much time do I actually need to process the invoices? How much time do I need for troubleshooting? I mean, you can buy cheaper internet from like a town provider. We call it Stadsnet. I don't know what it's called in English. But you can buy local internet here and there. But you have the administrative task as well. So let's say within Sweden, SD-WAN is, I don't think it's so much cost saving as people make it out to be. But it can be a huge cost saving when it comes to multinational companies. So how about Check Point? How does this fit in? I mean, we are more or less a Check Point channel now. We talk a bit about Cisco, but mostly Check Point. So the ability to support multiple connection types, such as MPLS, last mile, and etc., 4G, wireless, 5G. Well, Check Point has a huge amount of appliances, or maybe not a huge amount, but they have a fair amount of appliances. All these appliances, they have different type of connections. I mean, it's only the smallest boxes that actually has the 4G connectivity. The large boxes doesn't have 4G. And yes, as a reference, we haven't talked about it. I was actually planning to build a video regarding it, but Check Point just released new SMB appliances. And this was something that Check Point was actually lacking. They had the really small boxes, like I say it's for home networks, like for 25, 50 megs, 100 megs. But now they have actually released SMB boxes that can manage, I think, up to 1.8 or 2 gigs of traffic. So great work, Check Point. I really like that. But not only does Check Point offer appliances, Check Point also offer virtual options. This means that you can build a network between your physical locations, your offices, your data centers, but also to your private cloud or to your public cloud. Because you can run this in VMware, you can also run it in AWS, Azure, or more or less anything. So this picture is actually from like 3 years ago. I didn't find a recent one, but they have added a lot of new public cloud vendors, services, and private clouds as well. So they actually cover a lot more than I actually showed this on this picture. And if this wasn't enough, Check Point actually offer for open servers as well. So this is when you can buy like an HP or Dell or IBM server, and then you put a Check Point license on it, and more or less it will act like an appliance. This is the thing that I actually use myself. So open servers is my goal thing. I think this is great value for money, and but all of these are using the same type of software, and they can be all managed from the same place. But the first topic that SD-WAN actually requires is the multiple type of connection, and I think that Check Point covers this quite well. And just as a point here, if you did check my last video regarding redundancy, so I mean, in some offices maybe you need a lot of throughput, but you still want to have like a 4G or a 5G backup connection. So in my view, you should use the service provider for this. So I believe, in my way, you should use the service provider to actually provide you with a CPE, and they can do the redundancy for you. Because if we're talking about real redundancy for a data center, it's a lot more complicated than only like, link selection. You actually need to announce your networks. But I have a full video regarding redundancy when it comes to connection, and I will link it in the description below and also above here. So the second part is a simple interface and easy to configure and manage. Well, Check Point has had centralized management system for years. I mean, 20 years. So the SMB products, they actually can, if we start with SMB products, they can be locally managed, they can be cloud managed, and they actually have a service provider managed as well. So you can manage them quite good. And this is a picture from the cloud management that is specifically for SMB. But there is also the cloud managed for all the type of gateways, and this include SMB gateways as well. So when you go up the ladder, you can have nicer cloud functionalities, and you can have, well, more or less what you want. Check Point has the possibility to manage your stuff in a really good way, and they are the gold standard according to Gartner when it comes to centralized management. And of course, you can have standalone, you can even have an open service, you can have managed appliance, you can have the in the cloud as well. And what is not listed here, you can actually install the management server on your VMware, so you don't even need to have like a dedicated hardware for it. You can install it virtualized in your own environment as well. So Check Point management, I think is perfect. There's not much more to say about it. Great product, and this is the reason why we use Check Point. And even if you have on-prem or in cloud, they scale quite well. You can have many thousand gateways if you want to, so you can be a really large organization and still use Check Point. And just as a comment on like the easy to manage, Check Point of course offer zero touch, meaning it's not really zero touch like that. You still need someone to prep something for you. So there is always someone that has configured something in the background to actually make this zero touch to work. So zero touch for me, it means that you don't need technical staff on site to actually install one of these boxes. So you can send out an appliance or even an open server if you want to, and just ask them to like plug in the yellow cable into the yellow port. I mean, there is a reason why people and service provider actually color mark their routers and switches and so on. Check Point doesn't have color marking, but I mean, you could do it if you want. And you can even have like the zero touch provisioning and so on. But it also depends on like, did you buy it on the right account and so on. So there is always something that needs to be done in the background to be able to have zero touch. But for me, zero touch or zero provisioning or whatever it's called, it has to do with the people locally on the site doesn't need to know more than like plug in the power and connect the cable to a specific port. That's it. And just as a last remark here, if you're using fiber connections, you don't want anyone to just plug it in, because you need to be a bit careful when it comes to fiber. Like, you don't want to bend it too much, you don't want to get dirty and so on. So, well, still use some sort of, technicians or someone that knows more things if you're using the higher grade appliances or fiber connections. If you're using the SMB boxes that only cost a few $100s and you use copper cables, what's the damage that can be done? But expect to be able, you need to do like a guide with pictures and stuff so they can follow it to the letter. And just as a reference, the zero touch has been around for a long time, so it's nothing that is new. I found the creation of several different SKs. This is regarding SMB appliances. It's from 2017. I find it for the real boxes as well. The Blink is more or less, you can prep a USB memory and you just plug it in, and the appliance will automatically install itself. And there is of course videos and so on how to actually use this. So there are nice videos and guides in Check Point's website how to actually perform this. So the third part is the ability to support VPNs, third-party services such as WAN, optimized controllers, web filters, and gateways and so on. Check Point has a lot of capabilities when it comes to VPN. So if you manage your gateways from the same management server, the management server will act as a CA, a certificate authority. So by default, Checkpoint will be able to build your VPN network like a mesh or star network or route based or whatever, and it will build it on a certificate base, so you don't need to put in like keys or anything like that. It will be done more or less automatically. And when I say automatically, you still need to drag and drop stuff, you still need to configure it, so you still need some knowledge, and I hope that's why you're on this channel, to actually learn more things. So as I said, Checkpoint offers a lot of things: star, mesh, a combination of it, route based, whatever. And as a reference, this picture is from R77, so this is not even supported anymore. I mean, it's a few years ago, so Checkpoint has added even more things. And you can of course have domain based, route based, and well, you start to get the point. You can build a lot of fancy networks, and you have been able to do this for many years before SD-WAN was even on the picture. So I want to get rid of the hype a bit. I understand the hype, but I want to take it down a notch to actually start. I want you to start to think like, what is the features that you're actually looking for in SD-WAN? Is it the centralized management? Well, that has been around for years. I understand if you come from like a Cisco environment where you needed to manage each and every single box by itself. That's a nightmare. But when it comes to checkpoint firewalls, it has been centralized management for 20 years. So this is nothing new. And when you have route-based VPNs, communities and so on, that means that you can tap off the traffic. I mean, you can have the local web surfing if you want, and then just send specific traffic into the VPN tunnel. That sort of functionalities has also been around for years. And we are talking about the security products. You can still have your web filter, URL filter, anti-bot, IPS, whatever on all the branch offices if you have licenses for it. So you have all the nice capabilities that most SD-WAN vendors are like pushing out, like this is the new fancy stuff. This has been around for years. So really think about what is the thing that you want from the SD-WAN and try to compare this to this. And if we're talking about easy to manage and consolidate and all of that, well, you of course need to mention Checkpoint's, well, gold standard when it comes to management. So you have everything in one view, and this is from R80. It's even more fancy when it comes to R81 and so on, and you can have, as you see here, I don't know if you see me here, but you can have users, devices. So it's not only IP addresses. You can build it on dynamic objects, and when it comes to like services and so on, they have even more now. So you can have like Office 365, AVS products. So you can have a lot of nice stuff, and you can do dynamic objects based on on-prem stuff from like Cisco ICE or Active Directory or so on. But you can also have it from dynamic objects coming from the public cloud, such as Azure, AVS, or whatever, when it comes to security tags. So having the possibility to build this rule base, and you can have it across all your platform, even the SMB products. I mean, that's quite nice. So I just want to point out, like, most of the stuff that people want has already been existing for years. It's just you need to be able to know about it, and you need to be able to how to actually apply this knowledge into the real world. So let's talk about Checkpoint's strategy, or Checkpoint choice. So this is the leading SD-WAN vendor when it comes to Gartner. So this is from September 2020, so it's fairly new. I don't think there is a newer one. So if we check this map, we see a few competitors to Checkpoint. So we see here Fortinet, and we see Palo Alto. But we also see some new vendors like Silver Peak, VMware. I mean, they don't build the network equipment, but they are in this market as well. So when it comes to Checkpoint's announcement on the CPX, Checkpoint actually announced that, well, they talked about their SD-WAN strategy. So first of all, they did show their new appliances, and they also talked about the quantum edge. I mean, all of this is new names, like Harmony Connect, it was called something else before, but you get the point. So this is the Check Point strategy. So Check Point partners with all of these different vendors, and I believe there are some more as well. So this is from 2021, just a week ago. And I see this partnership as quite valuable. I don't know how much Check Point is actually selling from this, but to be able to do partnership with all these different vendors, this means that Check Point actually don't step on someone's foot, because Check Point is not building the SD-WAN solution, they're only adding the security on top of it. And security is really important when it comes to SD-WAN, and you actually want to tap off some traffic in different places, because you want to have the same security within your organization no matter where you're placed. It's not enough to only have it in the data center or in the main office. I mean, if someone sits in the branch office, they can do as much damage as they can do in the main office. So that's why you want security the same everywhere. So if we map this like ecosystem with partners to the Gartner map, well, Check Point partners with, well, all the top ones except FortiGate and Pod. So I mean, they partner with a lot of things, and I think this is a great benefit. So what is Check Point actually lacking from this one? Well, maybe you did see that I didn't take up one thing, and that's the dynamic path selection based on like load sharing and resilience. Well, load sharing and so on you can do, but you cannot do path selection based on applications. So within the CPX 2021, Check Point actually announced that they will build in more SD-WAN features within their products. So this is on the roadmap. It's not live yet. I hope it will come in R81 dot something, but I have no idea. But they are planning to add more SD-WAN features, but I don't actually know how important this is. I don't know how many customers actually using this, so maybe you can comment below if this would be something that you actually use. So it has to do with like application-based routing. So if you are, in this example, it's regarding if you are a specific user and device and you have streaming audio, you should use this policy, meaning you should use this link and so on. Check Point already have like ISP redundancy, so you can have multiple links, and they want to be able to, for you to select like based on price and availability and bandwidth and so on. Personally, I don't use that. I work for a service provider, so I really don't care. But I think that some people can care, and in some countries maybe it's really expensive to buy high quality links. So maybe this is a good way. Then you can have your primary link for really important stuff, and then you can have like a local internet for, well, YouTube or whatever, and that way you can like send your traffic different way depending on, well, the importance of the traffic. So I think this is a good path to take, but me personally, I will not use it. I don't think so, at least. Maybe we will see. So I'm looking forward to this new update. I always think it's nice when Check Point add new things, but I will like say repeat my last statement, like what features and functions from SD-WAN are you actually looking for? Is it only the centralized management? Check Point has that from the start. Is it the ease of use to configure stuff? Well, that's like Check Point is drag and drop, but you still need to know what you're doing. You still need to have network knowledge to be able to manage these sort of solutions. And it's the same for all SD-WAN solutions. You still need to do an IP plan. No one will do that for you. You need to have an IP plan to be able to connect multiple offices and have it work. So if you don't have this knowledge already, either you need to get it, or you need to partner with someone that actually can help you with this. And in many cases, at least in my experience, the service provider can be this type of partner that actually helps you in the journey how to make your business to be better. I mean, most businesses are not service providers. Their business is something else. and the IT stuff is just something that they want help with, or mostly want help with. I mean, most people or most companies is outsourcing functionalities, and they are outsourcing it to different partners, different service providers, or whatever. So SD-WAN and so on, it gives the possibility to actually have more players around the field in this segment. So you're not limited to your specific service providers. You can have more partners in an easy way. But still, you need knowledge for any type of SD-WAN solution, and according to me, I think Check Point has most of these functionalities that most people are looking for. So in my view, SD-WAN for a large Check Point customer that already has all this stuff is maybe not the biggest thing in the world. Okay, last thing now. When it comes to SD-WAN, you need something that works on-prem and in cloud. So you need to be able to have virtualized appliances or virtualized software. So you're able to actually build this in public clouds or in private clouds. Same as you want to be able to have appliances. So it's not enough to only have appliances, because no public cloud vendor will allow you to send physical hardware there. So that's why you need something that is virtualized, and you want to be able to combine this with physical hardware, and you want to be able to run this from the same management place. So I think this is it. I hope you did like this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment, share it to someone, and of course, thank you for actually subscribing to this channel. We are 2,000 people now. We are more than 10,000 hours watch time, and we have more than 150,000 views on this channel. So it's great. Thank you for actually helping me achieve this, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.